Hi everyone, this is Terence over here. Let me give all of you an Impossible Investors market update after what the US market has done over here in last night's trading. Now, so this week has been very interesting because coming off the end of last week, what we have is we finally have a market corrective move or down move over here in the last week alone, but it managed to close up before ending the week over here. So some follow through action into this week's action over here. We have the Boeing issue and the Boeing planes, the second crash incident playing out over here in the last 2 days. Now, you may or may not know, but Boeing is actually the single biggest component stock in the Dow Jones Industrial Index because the Dow Jones itself is a price weighted index, and Boeing is actually one of the most, or actually the most expensive stock in the whole of the index itself. Now, so just to highlight Boeing issues over here, Boeing crisis has kind of escalated over the last 2 days. Yes, it may be temporary over here, but nobody really has grasp or whole of how this thing can play out within the market itself, because market is a very short-term kind of outlook play. So if fear starts to trickle throughout the rest of the markets over here, we may actually get quite a big sell-off across the board if the markets start to correlate with each other. Now, let me explain what I mean over here in clearer details. So let me get to the platform over here. Now, so if you look at the Dow Jones Industrial Index over here, the correlation is not there because there are about 30 stocks right now, and there are about half of them going up, and the other half, of course, going down over here, with only the biggest down move spotted in Boeing, which is down about 6% or so over here, between 5 to 7.5%. Yes, now, so let me show all of you this. I mentioned that Dow Jones Industrial Index is a price-weighted index. So as you can see, I'm sorting out over the last traded price over here. You can see Boeing is actually the most expensive stock in the index. So a big down move, like 6% down move in a single stock like that, can actually lead the whole index going down by itself. Now, so this is what we call the one single stock that can control the whole index itself. Now, but what has happened over here is there's very little correlation, because if you take a look over here, we can actually see that the QQQ, or the Nasdaq ETF has been moving up over the last few days, together with the S&P 500 index as well. It's been buckling the trend. So both these indexes that represent the US markets are actually going up instead of being affected by the Dow Jones itself. Now, also for the S&P index to actually go down, one major sector that you need to see moving down as well, it's probably the financials, because in the S&P 500 right now, this other than the big tech, which controls a lot of the market cap in the S&P 500 stocks, the other sector that controls the biggest weightage in the S&P 500 index is really the financials. So what we're seeing right now is, if you look at the financial ETF, which is XLF on my screen right now, it has actually rebounded after last week's sell-off over here. It kind of moved back up over the last few days. So despite Boeing coming off 6%, the financials has stayed strong. And of course, if you look at the Nasdaq, which comprises of all the tech stocks over here, it has also staged a rebound over here from last week's sell-off. Now, so what we're saying over here is without the coordinated move of the technology stocks as well as the XLF over here, you're not pretty much going to see a big corrective move or a big sell-off in the markets, because if you look at basically big tech stocks as a whole, the biggest market caps right now, of course, things like Google, Amazon, and Facebook. Google is actually moving up over the last few days over here, as you can see on the screen. So it's bucking the trend of what Boeing is actually doing. If you look at Amazon has pretty much done the same thing over here. If you look at Facebook, yeah, it's done pretty much the same thing. It's not been doing much over here. And of course, the last one over here, which a really big standout in market cap, is really Apple. Apple has also moved up, catch a buying trend over the last few days as well. Now, so all in all over here, markets has gone up by quite a bit over the last 1 month. We have yet to see any corrective move over here, but we may start to see some of it coming off. But we really need to spot on for the financial sectors and the technology sectors to correlate with the selling that we may see in Boeing, or to bring the markets down. Now, so just want to highlight the risk is out there in the market. When other people say be greedy when others are fearful, right now others don't seem to be really fearful despite what Boeing is doing and happening right now in the market. So it's perhaps time for you to be fearful in terms of how you invest. Now, so just a quick market update over here, and yes, some of you have been asking over here. I will be completing my top 10 stocks. I am coming up with the top 10 over here in the next week itself. So do stay in tune over here and subscribe to the channel if you'd like to find out what the last stock is that I'm looking into to position my impossible portfolio for 2019. Alright, I'll catch all of you in my next video over here, and I hope you enjoy this. Leave a comment for any questions you may have, and I'll get to them. Alright, see you.